Now, October the 20th will make it 1 year after peaceful #EndSars protesters were attacked at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos. That attack ushered in a wave of violence that swept through not just Lagos, but across different parts of the country. Property worth billions of naira were destroyed and lives lost. Plans are now in motion to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the #EndSars protests, but there is apprehension that things might turn ugly as the police have warned against protests. Now, a human rights group, Defend Lagos Coalition, has appealed to those planning to stage demonstrations to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of EndSars protests to desist from it if it can't be done within the confines of the law. They expressed worry that the protests might once again be hijacked by hoodlums. Well, joining me now is the convener coalition of 70 civil society organizations, Razak Olukoba. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. We all remember the #EndSars protest last year, where so many issues, were stirred up. Initially, it began as a peaceful protest until we saw what happened, being hijacked by hoodlums, and TVC was also affected by that protest. I was at work that day and I knew how it felt.
Me that day. Remember?
Actually, I remember.
Yes, on Zoom.
Via Zoom, because there was no movement at the time. But talk to us, 1 year down the line, we recall that there were demands made by the protesters at the time, and the government said that they were going to look into that and also address some of these issues. And if we will begin from that point of view before we look at they now trying to commemorate, can we say that there are lessons learned and their demands have so far been met?
Well, Veronica, I have a different opinion, and coming from the chronicle that we have done is the reason why I felt that my proposal, what I'm proposing, there are things that is better forgotten than to be remembered.
Really?
Yeah.
Why so?
If you look at the history of this country, nobody talks about the Civil War again. Okay. So no, don't. It's because there's no winner, no vanquish. It is going to bring about another historical moment in our life that will generate
who are still looking for
more controversy. I'll get there.
Right.
Get there. Now, even Second World War, in spite of the lives that were lost, did you see Germans talking about celebration of Hitler? What they do is that never Hitler again in our life again. What we should be talking about is not to remember the incident of EndSars again. Mark it. We are not saying that demands should not be made. But when you start a process that at the beginning didn't start well, I personally knew that it's going to end this way. Because in my life as an activist, you cannot start a process that is leaderless. Veronica, don't run away from that, the point I'm making. I'm not,
I'm sitting right here.
Yes. It's a leaderless process.
There were
no arrowheads at that time. Who were the leaders? I made contact with people who were Zoom, were fraternizing. Like, no, we just want to fraternize with them. I said, I don't do such a thing because it's going to lead to mobocracy. The first day. And I said, what are the demands that the leaders are talking about? 1, 2. How many days do you want to do it? Then how do you intend to define the process? Coronavirus was in their life that time.
Yes.
And things were tough. So Nigerians were agitated at that moment. So we felt that kind of thing should be well guided. So those 3 things were missing. And we warned seriously that it's not going to end well.
They made demands. If I should take it back, they made demands. They came together, made demands. 5 demands. 5 points.
Veronica,
right.
There should be a leader talking to us. Even organizations like Boko Haram have leaders that talk eventually. Taliban's have leaders, they are not in government now. So you can't say you are leading a process that, tell me the single, I'm leading a coalition now. My name is Razak Olukoba. Who is the leader, who is the coordinator of the EndSars? And that's the suspicion that I have for that protest. And don't let us continue on that trail again. It's not going to lead well. The celebration that is coming on 20th, if I were Governor Sanwo-Olu, I would not allow you to hold. I am courageous to say it on television.
But isn't that infringing on their rights?
Infringing on the right. Your station was burned down.
Right.
Have you been able to bring anybody to book? And since that time, Veronica, let me ask you this question. Let me ask the organizer this question, that they were supposed to, after a protest, and it ended, the way it ended, they were supposed to assessment, damage assessment, to at least come to TVC and other people whose property were destroyed, that we are not responsible for this. In America, George Floyd, people took advantage and they were burning houses, they were stealing, and the family came out. They suspended the protest so that you smoke out who wanted to use the opportunity to commit crime, to give it another definition. So at that time, we advised that you can't be hurting Nigerians that claim to be defending. One, it is endless. They say the protest is endless. There's no protest in the world that is endless. That's number one. Number two is that you must defend the protest. And if you don't defend the protest, that's where the nomenclature of democracy comes in.
How do you mean?
When you go out on that day, you must defend the process that this is our route. We are not going to Moshi, we are going to Ajugule, and on that day, they were supposed to be men that will guide the process.
That was the job of the police.
No. Protester must have among them who is going to defend the process. Apart from the police, you must defend the process. You must wear your apron to say you are security. That's what you see us writing security, guiding the process. And no, this is not what we are doing. This is what we are doing. And all those things were missing. And we are warning again that if you allow such a thing to happen again, it may end up
to remember issues or those who were victims of that protest.
There were two things
they talked about having a protest,
yeah,
and they also talked about remembering those, commemorating what happened that year, because it was a beginning of a movement for a majority of Nigerians.
During the Civil War, people get killed, properties were burnt.
Right. But like I said earlier,
bringing it back to
are still seeking closure.
Now.
Which some persons are saying what is going on in the country now is as a result of the closure that a majority of people didn't have at that time.
It is better to raise a new platform to make demands than to continue to use EndSars to make demands. For instance,
what's the difference?
For instance, I know the difference is clear. If you raise a new platform to make demands, there are several demands in Nigeria today, and they are getting results. What I'm saying in essence is that people oppress, government oppress people. People also oppress government. That EndSars was an oppression on some states. They oppressed the Lagos State government. Lagos State government is a liberated zone.
Really?
So, of course, the struggle in Lagos during the democratic activists in Lagos, it was a platform. 8 years of Ashwaju were agitation against the federal government, against Obasanjo's oppressive tendencies. So, bringing it to Lagos and doing what you did to Lagos and some states is oppression of the EndSars organizer against the government. And up to today, there is no documented evidence of who were responsible for burning down police stations. I will not support, in the name of agitation, in the name of protest, burning down people's property. Some people have not recovered up to today.
Absolutely, businesses were lost.
Some people died as a result of that process, not from police bullets, but because of the harassment because it turned to mobocracy, because of people who later joined the protest. See, Veronica, when you start a process wrongly, that is how it tends to end. And this is another one again. And you see, there's no EndSars anywhere. It gathers momentum. And if you leave it to happen again, it will gather. Inferno is nowhere. Inferno is no fire. Inferno also gathers momentum. There's no fire that is called Inferno. Inferno is small fire that develops into a big fire. So this is another incipient process to start another Inferno. And if you allow it to happen, I am not going to be in protest. I can't put my life at risk only to start turning protest into a platform for people to steal, to kill, and you expect people. See, the Defend Lagos Coalition, they did what is right. And that's the opinion, saying that and you must come out. If you come out, I say I am not in support of it. That's a very fair position. If you are in support of it, join them. If you are not in support, say you don't join them. I am not in support of it, and I'm not in this alone. There are many activists who felt that it is insult to our struggle to say that you call this a demand, you call this a protest, you call this agitation. This is anti-people, as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Because yes, it's anti-people. If you want to make a demand, what is debarring you from mentioning your leaders? These are our leaders, and this is our demand. And you see that some people are locking under it to commit mayhem. Lagos has not recovered from it, and Lagos must not witness this type of thing in less than 1 or 2 years. He is still paying a lot of compensation to a lot of people that is ordinarily not his own fault. Lagos is not responsible for SARS. Lagos does not control it with the federal police. Why must you hold Lagos responsible for it? Go to Yaba.
Because of the incident that happened.
Yes, why must you allow your protest to be hijacked? That's the point I'm making. You start wrongly. You don't seem to get what I'm making. If you have a leader, your leader will be talking to us. He will bring
and the leader will be held responsible.
And the leader will say, it's not an endless process. We are going to come out for 3 days. After 3 days, people can go out and do their business. That's how we do it. Then, as we are going out, we are not at Mushi, so that people will not go and replicate what we are doing at Mushi. We are going to be at Ojuelegba. When we did Occupy Nigeria, we are at your daughter. I was there.
And that was the central point.
Yeah. Yes, that was the central point. And in Abuja too, there were points. This one, there's no definition for it. You just came and we kept warning that this is not what you think it is. So this one that is coming also at a very political moment of our life. I had a suspicion for it. And I want Lagos State government to be careful about it. This is not time to moralize. We wanted to come out on that same day to create a balance of force.
No, but there has to be some level of conversation.
With you
said Lagos State shouldn't moralize. Are you saying they should use force?
No, I'm not saying they should use force. What I'm saying is that is to come out and say that no protest should hold. They are in government. They are in government. If government is not having the fear to make such a policy, you have to encourage them to do so. I am encouraging Lagos State government to not to tolerate it. I am encouraging them not to tolerate it because the people, is it because activists, people join activists to commit that crime and burn down yours? Is it the reason why you don't document people who did that? So is it because they're activists? Is that what gave them the license to burn down people join to burn down people's property, and you are not talking? And you are not saying that you moralize about allowing that to happen again to innocent Nigerians? That is not the kind of activist that I am. The definition of activist is to defend.
So you don't think they have learned lessons from the loopholes that
the lesson we have learned is that we should learn.
Those who are the organizers.
This is not about them only now. It is about Nigerians again, because they started something that affected the entire Nigeria. So we are not going to leave it to them alone. We are not going to allow them to create another platform to commit another mayhem. You have not built your stations back now.
I agree with you. Of money. I know that we haven't built our station, but I'm saying that, are you saying that they haven't learned lessons from what happened in the past? To ensure that even if they want to carry out any protest,
they won't learn any lesson.
They will ensure there are no loopholes.
With our attitude, they will not learn any lesson. And our attitude should be that...
What is the attitude?
Our attitude is like encouraging them. By what we are saying, if you want to protest, make it peaceful. This kind of protest can be a peaceful protest. This kind of protest is not guided.
Why can't it be?
Why, from the beginning, who is the leader of EndSars? No leader. There's no name attached to EndSars. So
because there is no leader.
And because there's no leader, it's going to lead to anarchy. It's going to lead to mobocracy. You remember your interview with me that I mentioned it. I said,
yes,
I don't seem to understand the EndSars protest. There's no leader. How can the worst organization making worst demand in the world we always have a feasible leader that we can engage and talk to? 1, 2, a protest cannot be endless. He said it's an endless, there's no end to it. Why in the world, even the world will come to an end one day? People will come to, everybody will die one day. So you can't say it's an endless process. That's 2 is that you cannot also say that as we are coming out to, this is so that we will know your blueprint. We are not running a secret service. Even secret service at times declassify what they have classified. So anything you want to do in an organized society, you can't be doing it as if there's no government in place. And the reason why the government must be in place is to have the courage at times to take difficult decisions. This is a difficult moment for Lagos State government and government in Nigeria. And this is the time people like us must have the courage to be on the side of the government. I am going to support the government if they say that the protest, I am going to be in total support of it, because where is the money to compensate people? The last people that all of them get compensation that might not even be up to, just they call it compensation. If you lose 10 naira, they give it to you, that's compensation. Who built your station for you? So as we are documenting all the people that took part in what got us to where we are today as a nation, we are documenting it. Individuals that also took part in EndSars protest that hide under the umbrella of doing kind of protests and burn down your station, burn down police station. We're also documenting their name. If you can't bring them to, we don't want to duplicate the effort of Lagos State government, but also bringing about a body that will carry out investigation, not only about the police or about security agents, about also individuals that took part in the violence against fellow citizens. We are also documenting it, but because we do not we don't want to duplicate what the government is doing. So first, let's see how far they can go. Then we'll come out with our own too, because it's our responsibility to
it's
also.
It's about a year now. What has come out of it?
They are still on it. So that's why I'm saying that we are waiting for the government, and that's why we are saying that this attitude of being too fatherly may not help the situation on ground. There are times when you do things that your children may not like, but it's for his own sake. What they are about to do is not going to end well, not for only the government, but for the people. You know that there were news about politicians going around that day, distributing money, distributing food, inviting people for jamboree to eat. So you should know that there's more to it than meets the eyes. And we all know that Lagos, an individual in Lagos, feels at least 1% or 2% outside Lagos, which means the 52% economic hub of Nigeria we are saying about. If you have to be fair again, we will say it's almost the economy of Nigeria. And as a result of that, look at what the economy of the country is saying. Is this moment you want another destruction? Who is going to compensate Lagos State government and the people that may likely be affected? Now that you have
established that point, let's look at those who are seeking closure. How do they get their closure? If we are saying don't commemorate that day, don't protest,
it's not by burning tire,
we should not remember.
It's not by burning tire.
We should not remember.
It's not by burning
that
tire.
Day.
It is not by burning tire. Or it's not.
Isn't that being insensitive to what is going on their minds?
What the process that led to what you are saying, is it by bringing it up again?
They haven't said they are burning tires. That's we preempting them.
It will lead to burning of tire if you don't have a leader for that process. If you don't give out a timetable of what you intend to do. That's what organizations do all over the world. All organizations do. I lead several organizations. That's what I've been doing. I've done over 30 years of my life into agitation, and that's what we do. Even during the military, we say we are going to be at Yaba, we'll be at Yaba. We won't say we are going to be at Yaba, then we'll go to Jolegba. So if you start a process where there's no leader, where we don't understand what you intend to do, what are your plans, you are running a nation. You are running an organization. So there's not going to be any compensation for anybody by guarding somewhere again and someone will hijack it again. The pattern, the adopted pattern, the universal pattern I know that people make demand is what the Lagos government has done and what organizations like our own will have done. But we are waiting for the government to do its own. So to make demand for the people and to seek redress, it's not on the street. It's not by bringing up another faceless exercise that may likely do to air damage to the people. So my clear proposal is that for me and my people, we are not in support of the process, and government must do everything as its own to ensure that the protest is not hold. I'm not saying that there should be violence that day, but I'm saying that that protest, there should be a announcement from the government that the protest should not hold. I don't moralize on issues like this. I become fearless when it becomes matters like this. That when it comes to defending the people, I defend the people. When it comes to defending the government, I must also defend the government. It's our duty.
Right.
People who are right, you must be behind them. Either behind the people, if the people that are doing the right thing, be behind the people. If it is government that is doing the right thing, be behind the government. Government of Lagos State government is not the architect of SARS. Why must you continue to hold Lagos responsible? Lagos is a liberated zone. Go to other states that need another mission of liberation.
You can go on and on with this conversation, but for want of time, we'll have to leave it here now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time on the program.
It's a pleasure being with you.